right, hello everyone. Welcome to Robin Live. I am your host, John. Um, Robin's here.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, hold on. I'll make sure everyone knows that was her voice. See, the voice of Robin.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get to select a color this
I
week.
just made it purple.
Oh, okay. Purple's my favorite, so that's a good choice.
I know that. That's why I made it purple.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
our cat's
the
talking.
birthday cat. Well, yesterday
Yeah,
was her birthday.
right. HBK turned whatever
11.
11. Good friend.
She is. She's
Been through
one.
a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're here on Robin Live. Robin has a couple good three good stories, but we'll see. I think. Hey, Dominic's here.
Hey,
Hello.
Dominic.
Um, so I think we should start out with last night on the show we talked on Citizens United. Oh Lord, on Citizens United we talked about what did we talk? Talked about Centennial Park. We talked about Sale Magley Stadium. Um, how the things that are going on at Sale Magley Stadium are really um pretty major or hey Kim,
Hey, Kim.
pretty major stuff going on over there when you're ripping out the entire. Hey, Chris is here too.
Hey, Chris.
When you're ripping out the whole, it's a huge field. I mean, they played football, the baseball. If you ever played baseball there, because football is set up for, but baseball, the outfield is enormous. It's huge. It's like it might as well be like old Yankee Stadium. Ripping it all out and putting in turf at $1.54 million. And that's when you think about that, that was COVID money, COVID relief money. Um, there's other things you could have done with it.
Absolutely.
There's so many things that I think, and I know it's only one, and they'll tell you it's only 1.54 million, but I believe that almost every. I remember way back when there was only certain neighborhoods or certain parts of town that had flooding.
Right.
And it would be unfortunate. They got water in their basement. And it seemed to only be in certain areas. I'm going to tell you what. By now, it's in everyone. It really is. LaSalle, DeVoe, everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
Mid City. Because where I grew up, there was never water in anyone's basement. I don't remember. I know you had it,
Yes.
but where I was at, no one in that surrounding area had it. And I lived near like in Forest Avenue around there.
Right.
I never heard a word of anyone with water in the basement. It was always kind of located in certain spots. And now I'll tell you, when it rains hard enough around here, and you get that thing where you get a couple inches at a time, you see it all up and down the street.
Yes.
I'm talking about whatever company, whatever plumbing company you pick is on the street.
Yeah.
Sometimes two, three of them. So and being here, even living here as long as we have, uh, I've noticed more and more and more of that going on. So there's things you could figured because I know the COVID money, it could have been used. It's like infrastructure stuff. They say sewer, and broadband and things like that. I mean, I don't think we're at the point. Sale Magley Stadium is a weird one because the Power plays maybe 15 games a year there, maybe more. I don't know, and it has nothing to do with the Power. Thankfully, the Power even gives anyone opportunity to see anything in that place.
Right.
So this has nothing to do with them. It's just like it's not making sense to redo that stadium like that for what? Because if you're redoing the stadium and Niagara Falls High School is going to be, well, they're not. They got their own stuff.
Right.
Why would they come? Niagara University doesn't want to be in there because it would have been great. They tried to give it to Niagara University to run and to do everything with, and
Right. I remember that.
they didn't want that. So you're sitting there now. Hey, Don.
Hey,
you're sitting
Don.
there now with the Power, which, once again, nothing against them. Went to a game, it was fun. It's just not it's not the same thing like when the Niagara Falls White Sox or Pirates and the Rapids were here, because of course those being affiliated. But for example, you saw Jorge Posada play at Sale Magley Stadium when he was on the Oneonta Yankees.
Right.
You saw Tony Clark with the Rapids. You saw guys that became. Bobby Thigpen was a pretty good closer for the White Sox. I mean, you saw people that ended up on Major League Baseball. You're not going to see that here.
Right.
Not saying, and it's just like I hate this because when I start talking this way, there's people that automatically think you're trying to put down the actual baseball, and I'm not. I'm not at all. But I'm not going to I would not rip that all up for that.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, when, like you said, there's so many other things in the city that could be addressed with that money.
So many other things too. If you wanted to turn towards just uh, quality of life stuff, you know what I mean? I guess that's
Yeah,
what that is. There's probably better things we could have done with that, even
yeah,
in quality of life things. Um, it's so bizarre. It's so strange. And I can't believe they didn't fix the facade out there
I
and they
know.
didn't bring it back to the way it was. It's, it's just stupid. The whole thing's stupid. And again, are you bringing a tenant? We talked about this with Centennial Park. Is a tenant going to be there? Do we have someone coming in that's going to play there? Is
Right.
there something happening that we don't know? Are all of a sudden we going to go back into the New York Penn League or one of the other rookie leagues for Major League Baseball?
Wouldn't that be something?
No, really, if that's what's happening? But I would imagine if that's what was hi Valerie, if that's what was happening, I would imagine they would say something
Right.
because you'd be proud of that. You should
Right.
be.
Yeah.
That'd be great. But it is a waste of money. It's a waste of the COVID money that you could have put in. And I know, Dawn, and I know, we all know that that money can only be used for certain things. But I certainly would have tried, yeah, an MRI machine for Niagara Falls Hospital. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because it can be used for health. Yeah, it can be used for healthcare. Why not? Why not help them get the MRI machine? Perfect. It's a great point. Dominic says, what is sad, the city has never had priorities. Go back to urban development when half of downtown was knocked down on a whim of maybe getting casinos. It's the track record. Yeah, you're right. We do things and it's a if come.
Right.
Um, it doesn't work. Well, we're doing it on downtown now with we talked about for a minute with Blue Cardinal Capital. We've gone over with them. Main Street, it's all just a prayer. You know, if nothing is definite. So when I just think that if you're going to put that kind of money of COVID money into there, you may want to you might want to having some. It's kind of like Centennial Park. You might want to have something for us to look forward to.
Right.
The fact that's going to be turf means nothing. Who cares?
Right. For the 20 people that go and watch the game.
Right. Who cares? Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
You're right. Right. I mean, and I feel bad, and that's fine. It's fine. The 20 people, I'm glad they go. It's cool. Great.
Yeah.
You live around the park, maybe you go. I went. It was a cheap. It was fun.
Yeah.
But it's not. You're not going to pack that place like that. You're not going to do anything where it's worthy. Like I thought maybe, okay, if they're spending a little money there, I know they're opening up the pool again, right? So then I'm thinking, okay, maybe they're just doing the infield.
Right.
And they're leaving the outfield the way is. That's not as costly for sure. You know, you're going to do that. You cut out the base paths. That way you don't have a lot of rain out issues.
Right.
It probably saves on a lot of maintenance. But no, Robin, the entire field. You remember how big it is, don't you?
Yeah.
It's huge. That's not a small. If you have never been on that field, you don't even realize there's a point where it goes like this, like it almost like it, there's a drop off, and from behind shortstop and second going to the outfield, there isn't a considerable. Now I'm sure they're going to fix it.
Right.
Great, but you didn't need to, this is an insane fix.
Right.
And then they're going to do scoreboards and lights and everything for what?
Yeah.
Don says hire a nurse that is qualified to do a rape kit. Yeah, that's true. Did we ever find out if Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center doesn't do them? I don't think we did, huh?
No, we've got to confirm that.
Yeah,
I'll have to call them.
We don't know. Yeah, we got to figure that out. But you're right. How about that, Don? Good call. Yeah, there's so much because there's a lot of things you can do with it. Like I don't think you can just. I think the whole thing was you can't just throw it in your like general fund. Like
right,
you're not supposed to give raises with it, but the county legislature did.
Yeah.
So, but you're not supposed to. So what did you have? You had something about Centennial Park you were talking about earlier to me?
I just a couple things that that I checked out after we talked about it last night.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Dawn, where can you get them done? Is it St. Mary's? Do you know? She said she Googled it, but I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Where can you do them then?
Right. Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, where do we go? I guess we need to find that out. That's another. Maybe we got to call the YWCA and find out. They should. They would know.
Yeah.
If you called the advocates over there, they would know.
Yeah, I'll have to find out
Yeah.
and
Well,
get back to
yeah,
everyone on
because
that.
that'd be. I mean, because you would hope though. Yeah, like whatever. This place is insane.
And
Go ahead.
what kind of hospital doesn't
I
have
don't
the?
know. I don't
So
know.
you go in there and they say, "Sorry, we don't do that here."
I don't know. I don't know what they do.
Like, what
I
the hell goes on?
I don't know. I'm seriously. I don't know. I don't know what the hell. You're right. I don't know
Now
what the
I
hell.
want answers.
We're
What
gonna
do
have
you?
to. You have to call.
I'm gonna have to call
I
because
think the where I would call is the why.
yeah, because
There's no
now that
point
I
if you
know
call the
that
hospital, you're not going to get a real. You're not going to get a legitimate. You know what I mean? It's
right,
going to be a joke.
yeah, because the
Uh,
person that originally put that
yeah,
out, I wasn't
yeah,
sure
but it's not even. It's not even that because you, there's got to be. Yeah, you have to pay for it too. I've heard that before. You're hundreds of dollars for it.
to store it, right?
Something stupid. Yeah. All right. So what did you Centennial Park? That's the place where they're going to put a 4 to 6,000 seat arena. Might be as big. I don't know how big Blue Cross Arena is in Rochester. It might be in the same ballpark. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Whatever you know. What did you? We were
Um,
talking earlier. I can't remember.
so it was all based off of the report that was issued in September by Niagara University's Global Tourism
Yeah.
Institute. Um, the cost of the Centennial Park project is estimated to be $150 million. Um, and this report was a follow up to one that suggested pursuit of new developments that could extend the local tourism season.
Right.
But um, now that that the mayor and the city council is going forward with eminent domain on the NFR land, this report identifies some issues with the problem. One of them being the condition of the city's finances, and the other major one, being the support from the Seneca Nation of Indians as important factors to be considered.
Yeah, because if the Senecas don't want to do it, they can build their own.
Right. Exactly.
They don't. They if you yeah they have yeah if they
If they
because
don't
that
like the
might take
location or the size or or anything, they can build
they build their own. Yeah,
yeah,
they'll block it.
right. Um, the biggest problem with doing something like this in Niagara Falls is with the dwindling population, we have such a shrinking tax base. So, besides influxes of one time stimulus money, the city spends an average of $90 million a year, but has just $25 million a year in revenue. The difference has been covered at the past 2 decades by casino money.
Yeah, which we
So
don't,
we're spending more
and
than
we
we're
don't
bringing.
get it
And yeah,
because
and then
we haven't made there hasn't been a deal. I don't
right,
think.
and then 2023 is December of 2023 is when it runs out, right? The pact that's in place now.
Oh, I didn't even know there was another one. I thought it already ran out.
I think there's one in place that ends in next year.
Oh, really? I knew there was one that stopped because they hadn't got paid.
Right.
Because remember, New York State kept on giving us loans,
Yes.
and they were having a fit because you're giving us loans, but yet you're giving the money to the Pulas.
Right. Yes.
It made no sense to any. It shouldn't make sense to anyone. Well, how would you give the money to those people and it's not a loan, but it is to the city of Niagara Falls?
Right.
Okay.
So for anybody that doesn't know, it's 12 acres of land that's owned by NFR that's at the intersection of 10th Street and Falls Street, just off of John Daly Boulevard. We talked last night about whether there would, and you were saying it earlier, about whether there would be a tenant or not in the arena.
Hold on one second, real
Okay.
quick. Dominic says, I believe 2023 they go back to the table to negotiate a new compact. Reason why the Senecas put up a big fight now.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The analysis they did said that a tenant model would bring an annual financial loss of about
Oh, go ahead.
$261,000. A non-tenant model would double that.
Right.
And bring a loss of about $482,000.
Right. Go ahead, I'm listening.
The mayor, council, members of the administration all acknowledge that the city has not done an in-depth analysis of the potential benefits and costs for running an arena.
Yeah.
So, and this is what I thought this was kind of crazy. the Western New York members of Western New York's delegation to the New York State Legislature apparently told the mayor of Niagara Falls that he should secure a site first and then do the reports and look into funding for the project, which I thought, which to me doesn't make sense. Wouldn't you want to know if it's going to work before you enact eminent domain on this land?
I don't know. I'd want eminent. They should have been doing eminent domain for the past 20 years. I mean, they should have been doing it left and right here, but they were always scared to.
Right.
They always say, can't do it, can't do it. All of a sudden, we're going to do it. I mean, really, we should be taking that 40 acres away. They got, well, how much is it down there? I don't even remember. 140 acres. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
That they have. NFR. Well, think about the anonymous, the source that told us about high level elected officials in New York State saying this is not a good idea, but afraid to tell City Hall.
Right.
It's insane. I don't know. And this money's coming from where? Where's the 150 million coming from? It's got to be
hopefully from the state.
The state
is what.
And hopefully for him, Hochul wins. And that's the fear. That's the fear at City Hall, is the connection to the governor.
Right.
That's why high-ranking officials won't
speak. Because
but that's messed up.
Yeah.
So you're just going to let it. You'll just let it go to hell.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else worthwhile. The one thing that's interesting is they had 6 potential sites.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a list of pros and cons for the sites. They said that this site obviously is large enough to accommodate the project, and it's outside the tourism core, so construction would be less disruptive. They also said that being outside of the tourism core is a drawback. There's no immediate parking, and that taking the land by eminent domain would remove it from the tax rolls.
All right. Hold on, I'm going to read some comments here. Dominic says, bought and paid for, and Milstein holds the strings to Albany.
Yeah.
Chris says, yeah, just look at the Lionel Richie concert I went to. It was behind the casino in their parking lot. So if you have a stadium, well, yeah, I mean, the Milstein said this a million times. Why in the world will a billion, he might be a billionaire. Why is he here?
Right.
Why would he be here at all? Why wouldn't you have gotten rid of all of this by now?
Yeah.
There's a really good reason that I don't know, but I'm assuming it's because he knows that basically it's a territory of Niagara Falls when you get down. It's really not the city anymore. The state park is the state park. That's New York State. It's not Niagara Falls.
Right.
And then you get the NFR land, which might as well not be Niagara Falls either. It's really weird. If you go down there, you can see the cutoff where it just becomes NFR, and then it becomes New York State. Those are the two those, and then of course where it becomes Seneca's. Don't forget about them.
Right.
So it's all cut off to the city of Niagara Falls. All of it. You're getting nothing from any of it.
Right.
At all.
They
overtaxed NFR, remember? And they had to pay them back like $11 million.
Yes.
And NFR knew it and just waited.
They also mentioned in this article an extension of John Daly Boulevard that would bring you down to Pine Avenue. And they said that was a plus of that location for Centennial Park, is to bring more traffic to Pine Avenue.
Centennial Park will only, if you're going to build a $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000, you better have the Niagara Ice Dogs over there, the Ontario Hockey League. They do well.
Right.
If you brought something like that there, you would do well, because you would at least draw from across the bridge. You could, if you had legitimate minor league hockey, this is what we talk about with the Rapids and the Power.
Right.
When you have if you had legitimate, when the Blue Jays would come in, and I can't remember who, I think it was Welland. When they would come in to play the Rapids, you got a lot of people from Canada coming to those games.
Right.
Because that was legitimate. And if you liked baseball, you knew their prospects would be there. That's something that people like it go to see.
Right.
If you did that with hockey. Now that stadium, if it's 6,000 seats, you could have an AHL team there.
Right.
Why not? The Amerks playing. We went to the game in Rochester. I don't think it's a 10,000 seat stadium. It didn't look like one to me.
No.
So what I'm saying is they have to have somebody coming because
Right.
when you have when you have the Amerks, then all of a sudden the Blue Cross Arena has whatever concert. You would just have more. It just seems like more. That would just it's bizarre because it would just be a. I don't even understand. How can you just build an empty arena?
Right.
This makes no sense. And I don't even. Here's what I said somewhere online today, and I don't know where I was messing around at some post. They know they have to know more than they are telling. And
Right.
I'm talking like we go back to that St. John. What was their name? Bolton St. John.
Yeah.
Remember that's $4,000 a month they're paying for lobbying for this. We still don't know anything about it. The city council don't know, or if they do, they act like they don't. We don't know nothing. It didn't need council approval,
Right.
which is bizarre. He just does it. They just do it. They have to. If they don't know what's coming, this is the stupidest thing that's ever happened. And think about how stupid this place is.
Yeah.
How do you build? I want to go find an arena where they built an arena without knowing who's coming. Like if Niagara University said, you know what, they didn't have Dwyer Arena, and they were going to play, that would be okay. And Niagara University is going to play some basketball there.
Right.
Still not a lot. It's still not a lot, but it would be. You could then say you would have something going.
Right.
You're going to have nothing going. It don't make any sense.
Yeah.
You have to have an AHL team in there. There's no basketball you're going to be able to get there. There's no real, unless you're going to have, and I don't know if that would even work, one of those ABA, one of those G League teams.
Right.
I don't see how that would work. But if you had minor league hockey, and I'm talking Ontario hockey is for those guys, they're NHLers to be.
Right.
Or you're going to have actually an AHL team that's affiliated with whoever. It could be the Rangers, it could be the Devils, whatever it would be. You would have a good crowd.
Right.
You would get good crowds there. If I can't believe that they don't have something already lined up, which I understand. They don't even have the land yet.
Right.
So maybe everyone's just going a little too far, jumping the gun, like going too far in advance.
Right.
They don't have the land yet. Remember, because NFR said they're going to build a beautiful that huge. They were going to do some kind of a. They're going to build something. They came back with it and said they're going to build. It's going to have 1,000 jobs. There's going to be like some kind of tech thing, a whole tech community, like park. Like this damn big. I forgot how. Remember?
Yeah.
So that was their rebuttal. Eminent domain. I said this the other night, and I mean it. I believe NFR and this administration have a deal. Something's going to happen here.
Right.
And then we'll find out if there's going to be a tenant. Because if NFR is going to do it, they'll have a tenant. Milstein will have a tenant.
Right.
Someone will be in there. I truly believe that they're going to end up being the landlords. Somehow these two are going to merge, and NFR is going. It's not going to be like, oh, that's it. NFR, here you go. They are going to have. I mean, first of all, City of Niagara Falls, even with them, they're going to have to pay. Eminent domain doesn't mean you just take. You still got to pay whatever the going rate is.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know how we'd pay it, but I guess whatever. Who cares? That's basically the thing. Who cares? So like, I just don't get it. Dominic says, just look at the convention center prior to the casino. Yeah, the convention center. He's got more. It's the truth. Excitement and panic mode. I mean, do you remember when Elia thought Disneyland? Oh yeah, I remember Disneyland was coming. I remember the Wizard of Oz was coming. We were going to have, remember Oz?
Yes.
The Yellow Brick Road. We were going to have all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All the way back to the Mall of America. I mean, we've been going down this road all the time.
Yep.
The thing is, if you're going to build an arena, you're talking an arena that is going to have. It's for hockey. It's for basketball. It's for concerts. Right? That's what you do in an arena. Right. It's for tractor pull. It's for all of that crazy stuff, like they used to have at the convention center. The convention center was losing money left and right, but the convention center was decrepit.
Yeah.
As time went on, I remember when Dad was there.
Yeah.
The leaks, everything else. So I don't know. Interesting. It's going to be great. I mean, when I think about it, I love the thought.
Right.
Truly, I love the thought to have an arena down there. I love it, and I would love there to be a American Hockey League team going to come in there. You're going to have all the concerts you want. You'd have wrestling. You could have boxing. You could have UFC. You could have all kind, not UFC, but maybe minor, different kind of MMA stuff. But all of that would be outstanding. I just don't know how. I don't know. That's my thing. Like, I don't know how serious this is. It is serious, but like, how could the cart come this like before the horse thing? Like,
right.
we don't even have the land. Eminent domain's going to take a while. They say it could take a decade. It could take forever. The eminent domain case. So like, I don't know. It just feels like we've got maybe everyone's jumped too far on this.
Right.
Because first you got to get the land. And you can't do nothing without it. That's why I think there's going to be an agreement between NFR. It's coming. There will be an agreement between the NFR and the city of Niagara Falls. They'll never make it to eminent domain. They're putting on a show, all this and talking tough. There is going to be an agreement. There has to be, or else this could be 10 years down the road.
Right.
Before you even. This is bullshit. The whole thing is this is a something, but it isn't what you think, because how do you do it? Hey, Tina, how would you do this without having it first?
Right.
Like beyond, okay, there's just drawings, right? There's drawings of it. So how in the world, you get what I'm saying? Like, how could you even be contemplating? You can't even dig. You can't go over there and do anything.
Right.
It's not yours.
Right.
Unless they give it to you.
Right.
And if they won't I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a deal, and NFR will be making money yearly off of whatever goes there.
Right.
There is no way, because it may last beyond the mayor, this mayor right now being mayor.
Right.
To where he'll be decrepit. Like, that's how long, you get what I'm saying?
Right.
He'll be old.
Yeah.
So I don't see, he's not looking for that.
No,
he needs it to happen
credit.
now.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years is what I'm saying.
Right.
So very interesting. We should probably take a break. And when we come back, we have a video, and we'll have more discussion on, we'll talk about that video. It's a little more national politics, interesting stuff. Let's take our break. Let me get to the commercials and find them. We'll be back in a moment.
Digits 988 can save a life. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.
right, welcome back to Robin Live. Robin, we have yeah, I know you got a video, you found it online. It's interesting because it's someone that I'm a big fan of,
Me
Tulsi
too.
Gabbard. Now Tulsi was what? A house, she was in the House, right?
She
House
was in that,
Representative?
yep, for the 2nd Congressional District from Hawaii, from 2013 to 2021.
No,
And in 2020, she ran for the Democratic nomination for president.
right. Thank you, Tina. And yes, and she is, even though she was a Democrat, I always liked her because of her ability to tell the Democrats where they were wrong.
Right.
Whether it was the war in Iraq, whether it was all that stuff.
Yes.
And that was the appeal when Trump came along, was his ability to tell the Republicans that, yeah, the war in Iraq, you lied.
Right.
You lied to, he said it. You lied to
Mhm.
everyone. And
Yeah.
you have no business being on the stage, he told Bush.
Jeb Bush. Yeah, he
because
told.
of them.
Yeah.
And he said you lied. And he was right. And so now Tulsi does kind of the same. She does the same thing on the Democrat side.
Right.
Why don't we play what Tulsi put out today?
I was very excited when I saw this video
It's
earlier.
about 1:20. Here it goes.
Maine and today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite. Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, then I invite you to join me.
And that was Tulsi Gabbard. Robin?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was great. I think the ability to call out the things that are going wrong are incredible. I thought the fact that she pointed out that the powerful elite, not the people, are running, and I'm going to give you a quote that she said about both parties. In this case, she said the Democratic Party, is now stands for the powerful elite, not the people. But I think you and I would both agree that both parties are that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's all about the
Yeah, it just depends on what you want to be your cause.
Right, exactly.
Sort of cause.
I thought it was interesting. She went a little further. Like when I first saw the announcement that I was going to, watch this video of her leaving the Democratic Party, I didn't anticipate her to go as far as she did with the saying things like wokeness and calling them elites and things that that you would hear from the other side, kind of criticisms.
Right.
I was pleasant.
I think she was common sensing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what she was. I think she even says that part of that.
Yeah.
I think it was I think that's what she brought though to the debate stage when she ran for president.
Right.
And they would remember. Actually, what am I talking? They wouldn't. They banned her. Remember how fast she got thrown out? They didn't want her to debate.
No.
Because she should have kept debate. She should have been allowed to keep going.
Right.
And they did not want her anywhere near talking to any of them.
No.
Because it would make too much sense and it would be a problem.
Yeah.
That's the Trump issue.
Yeah.
That's why the Republicans really didn't want him around.
Well, yeah, because you have people like for instance, during that during the debate, and it must have been during that time, she debated Kamala Harris.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And
yes, and that's when all hell. Yes, it was great.
Yeah, and
What she
And
called her
Kamala
out.
Harris talks about wanting to legalize
I should
marijuana.
have got that video because that actually is probably, damn it, I wish I would have got it. It's one of the best of all. It's right up there with, Reagan saying about the microphone. I mean, it was read my lips, no new text. I mean, this was unbelievable how
Yeah.
she hammered away on her
hmm
about
The people that
it was
had spent
unbelievable.
time in jail
Yeah,
under her prosecution for simple marijuana use.
yeah. And she buried her.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. To the point where I remember she couldn't even talk.
Yeah.
That was it. And the crowd went wild, clapping. And then that was it for her. She never returned.
No.
So I'll tell you this. Just please, please don't go to be a Republican.
That's what I was going to say next.
Don't do it.
She didn't announce what she's going to do next. My biggest complaint about former President Trump is that he joined the party.
Yeah.
When he came around, he was different and independent and didn't care what anyone said. And I still think he has some of that to him, certainly more than the president that we have currently. But I feel like you can't just become part of them and think you're going to be better. Once you become part of them, you're part of them.
Yeah, you can't. You have to denounce.
Even though his values might align more with the right, that doesn't mean that everything they do is.
Well, there's some things that don't for him.
Right.
I mean, there truly is. That was the appeal. Is that it wasn't just this.
Right.
And it could be anything.
Right.
You didn't know what his thoughts were. And I think you still have that because that's the whole thing with meeting the leaders of different countries. And he was doing the same thing that President Obama said.
Right.
Exact same thing that they complained with him, but not with Obama. It was, it was like a Nobel Peace Prize, but with this guy, it was wrong.
Right.
So he did all those things. And I'm not saying he's not going to again. When you put the R or the D in front of your name, now I'm going to look at you a little different. Now I have to, you got to, because now there's just so much in play.
Right.
Now you've got who's your special interest, who's your thing, who's that. He, of course, though, has enough money that generally doesn't need to be screwing. We look at who's donated to him. It's generally, it's like it's like guys that have plywood businesses and wacky, shit like that, construction or whatever. So you don't really see it. There was no pharmaceuticals except the one energy drink. I remember I looked at it all.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important to look at too. I mean, I'm certainly not going to not look at somebody. Jesus, he would probably be the exception, possibly to the rule. I don't know.
Right.
I really, really, really don't know because I see how they fight back against him, and sometimes they just have to submit.
Right.
The Republican Party.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they're hoping he goes away.
Right.
They certainly hope it's not him who runs.
He has done nothing but made the Republicans uncomfortable. That's for sure.
Good. That's
because
a good thing.
He has,
and the Democrats, he's made them all very uncomfortable.
Yes,
which I like.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic says, soon as you become of the elite in national politics, you make Mo, Larry, and Curly more able to run the country. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because once that happens, you no longer, you just don't care. You don't care anymore about people. So the thing with the only thing that Trump has going, the biggest thing he has going for him, he's somewhat the same as he was in the 80s. The only difference is he's kind of adjusted some of his ideas from the 80s to now. He was a little more different, but you get older, maybe you change.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of being in we will never exactly change anything if we continue with party like this.
Right.
And I know I'm saying something that might take 1,000 years. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be long gone. But I hope someday in the country's existence, someone goes back and reads that John Adams quote and says, oh my, this is what's happening right now. We have two humongous political organizations that have brainwashed people to the point where you have to be one or the other. And if you're not one or the other, people look at you like you're crazy.
Right.
Or you're a waste of time. They have done that successfully.
Yep. Let me read you this quote that from Tulsi in 2020 while she was running for president. She said, "I will say with our two-party system, I think it is broken. And it's largely broken because of the outsized amount of power that the two parties have, making it impossible for really there to be a viable independent or third party."
Yeah. And I've gotten to the point where I don't even want a third party.
Yeah, because then
Because if a
there's
third
more
party
trouble.
popped up, I don't want it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even, I wouldn't join it.
no.
I don't want to be a part of any party. They're corrupted and it just happens. There's nothing you can do. Because it's
And there's no party that's going there. I'm not, and I think most people would hopefully say this about themselves. I don't have just a blanket view of everything. I'm not just conservative or liberal or like I'm all over the place. It throw me an issue and I'll tell you what I think, kind of thing. Like, I don't want any preconceived, like, oh, well, here's what the Republicans think.
Well, that's why their platforms are garbage.
Yeah.
When you hear that, run the other way.
Yeah.
You don't want to. I mean, you can't listen. And I'm probably bring it back more to state government right now too. You aren't gonna change anything if you think just the Republicans going to make a difference.
Right.
They're just not. They're just not going to make that difference. What are they going to do? Nothing. Because they just aren't. It's just as simple as that. They don't do any different. Okay, you have things, but like, I mean, what would a new governor do? A Republican governor? What?
I can't imagine things would be much different.
He's going to have to deal with the Senate and the House and the Assembly. This isn't a state for radical change.
Right.
You're not going to do that. Even you're Republican, you're not going to do that because you still have to deal with downstate, and that's what you care about.
Right.
Where we're not even a part of this. We basically might as well be cut off and put into the river, into the lake.
Right.
Just float around, and maybe we could hit Detroit, Michigan, or maybe Cleveland.
Right.
But if we got to Lake Erie, but I mean, like, you can't even. But I'm not saying not to vote, because yes, when I vote, it's going to just be a protest vote. I will vote for Zeldin, not because I like him,
right.
Just because of my revolving door policy. So the next time I will vote for whoever it is that's running against Zeldin.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care who it is anymore. It doesn't mean a damn to me, because they can say whatever they want to say, and in the end, their loyalty is to their donors and their party. It's not to you or me or anybody else.
Right.
Their donors they are the ones that get the preferential treatment, them and their families. No one else matters. So I'm not doing it. No more for me. But I know this country is not going to change, because they are indoctrinated to the point of not being able to see.
Think about how bad it's got to be too on the federal level with that. When you see how bad it is just locally,
yeah,
somebody with influence kills somebody and they don't get arrested for it, or
right,
because they're a political donor, they can get away with things. And can you imagine if they're donating to these huge candidates?
Oh my God. Well, that's why. Well, think about it. That's why these people, if you look back in their past, they donated to everyone.
Right.
Hillary, this one, Bush, they don't care. They donate to everyone. And I understand why, because you would.
Right.
Because that's what I would if I was in that position where I needed politicians so I could build whatever I'm doing, you'd have to.
Right.
And I don't like it. That's what needs to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just no doubt that it's going to be yourself, you as the politician, as the elected, plus whoever donated to you and whatever the party is. It's just sickening.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as that continues, we will spin our wheels. It happens right here at home.
Yep.
The only difference at home is there's Democrats and Republicans have they do have their own loyalties to their parties, but the parties don't really care. Look at who the Republicans are. They're not Republicans. They're Democrats. They're just a bunch of. That's why they should just run on their own name in cities like this, or in towns, or in your local stuff. They should kill that's where they should just kill them.
Right.
Every locality, there should be none. There can be they can have a statewide one, they can have the federal one, but when you're talking Niagara County, there should be no Niagara County Democrat or Republican Party. What is their use?
Right.
They're useless. Plain and simply useless when you look at what's gone on around here.
Yeah.
And everywhere else. Just stop it. Don't have no more. Make that person run as that person.
Right.
And then see what that person gets from donations. And then you'll see what that person is.
Right.
That's all. But we don't want to do that. And I don't know why. I don't know why the American people just have no desire to change a terrible system that is, look it, I said it before, and I don't know. They are very criminal, those two parties. People get killed because of those two parties.
Right.
People get raped because of those two parties. And why that happens is because they protect the killers and the rapists, or they protect the embezzlers, or they protect or the embezzler who took millions of dollars from somebody gets a job with the state or with the county. So all that goes on, and they're criminal, they're disgusting. But people that are everyday people will fly a red or blue flag. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick. Dominic says, Milstein donated so much to Cuomo, he was briefly named a board member of being a highway superintendent. What is sad is that both parties are where we are not, just as states, but as a country. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the funny thing is too, some people that will identify as Republican or Democrat would listen to what I just said and agree, but would never unidentify.
Right.
They would simply stop if they were religious, they would quit their religion.
Right.
Before they'd quit that party.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
Yep.
It's a sick, sick situation. And I've seen enough.
Yeah. More than enough.
Through my own life. I don't want to see it no more. I've seen too many people around here. Unqualified, despicable criminals that get saved and get their jobs covered, and then you look at the real heavy stuff when people are being murdered and raped and all that, and it's just, when's enough for people? Right? When is it? I mean,
people are so quick to point out when it happens on the other side too. Like, Democrats love when Republicans kill or rape or something, so they can go at them, and Republicans love when the Democrats kill and rape, so they can go at them. But it has nothing to do with the victims or the people who are actually affected. It's all just
now they'll go look and see what the victim. Now they'll go and see if the victim was a Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
If the Democrat killed the Republican, not, we didn't get to that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what was his political affiliation?
Yeah.
He shot 8 million. He shot 8 and maimed 100. Was he a Democrat or Republican?
Right. Yeah.
They don't care. It's all a political tool, right? All of it. It all has been.
And it's just all brainwashing.
Some people just don't care, and I don't blame them, because I get it. I get why you don't care. Why the fuck do you care? For what? I mean, people that speak like you are, or I am, or the others out there, you'll be looked at as a lunatic.
Right.
You will. That's how it goes. But I'll be damned if I will ever be a part of one of those things again.
Yeah.
Ever. There's nobody. If Tulsi runs for something, Gabbard, who this started out with, I will happily go to the polls and vote for her.
Yeah.
If I have the ability, if it's in my state and over nationally. There is no one else that I'm going to go vote for in any way, shape, or form. Like I'm happy. I don't care.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm doing the lesser of two evil things continually in national politics and in state. Yeah. Locally, geez. Locally, the revolving door thing doesn't even matter, because you revolve the door in the same. It could be this guy. There he goes. He's 70 years old. Here comes a 30-year-old just like him. So
yeah,
they just revolve.
And then the 70-year-old will come back when the 30-year-old quits,
or the 30-year-old goes to prison.
Yeah,
and then they got to wait for him to get bailed and come out so they can get him.
Yeah, give him a better job with the county. Yeah.
All right, Robin. I think it's time to go home. We're home, but
we're home. Yeah.
Get off of here. It's nice. Good show.
Thank you.
Way to go. What do we have coming up? Friday. Friday is Spitballin' Sports Podcast.
Yep.
With myself and Scott Taggart. Trying to get a guest. I know I'm getting close to my friend Zig Fracassi. Again, we talk to each other. We're gonna have to record something with him because his stuff with the NFL Network is really. You go on Twitter and look at the people he's interviewing on a weekly basis. It's the biggest names in NFL sports. I mean, it's incredible. So, or the general managers or the coaches, he's got it all.
That's incredible.
And, well, yeah, I mean, the other day you're looking at it. I mean, he's got Trey Aikman on.
Wow.
Or he has on the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens, or he has on the guy from the Dolphins. I mean, he has big name people, so we got to get him back. Dominic, thanks, Dominic. He says, I'm going to go jaywalk now. Maybe I can get a job. Yeah. So after that on Friday, Saturday, of course, Falls Count Anywhere, Chris DiCarlo, Charlie Turner. Last week was the B. Brian Blair. Great interview. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, especially if you're a 80s, 90s fan of professional wrestling. It's there forever. It isn't like you had to see it live. It's always there.
Right.
Go check it out. And then we'll be back Monday, me and Noel. And business is starting to pick up on Citizens United. So we're getting a lot of people that are reaching out, looking for things, and so there's going to be a lot of stuff happening here.
Yeah,
and it's cool. And I'm glad all of you guys out there are going to come along with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So for myself and for you over there on the couch,
yes,
time to go watch Yankees baseball. And the next time I see these people, the Leafs will already play 2 games because hockey starts. Actually, tonight Tampa plays the Rangers. Pretty good game.
Yeah, that is a good game.
Yeah. All right, everybody, be safe, take care, and
bye, everyone.
We'll see you soon.